The stars were silent. In the great council hall of the Zorith Empire, leaders from dozens of alien worlds sat in tense discussion. Holograms floated in the air, showing tiny specks of light, planets and ships scattered across the galaxy. Humans? One of the elders sneered, his voice echoing in the chamber. They are no more than legends. Old stories, nothing more. Another alien shook its spindly head. We have records of their extinction. They could not have survived the wars 20,000 years ago. Any claim that they still exist is foolish. Yet, in the distance, a small scout vessel moved cautiously through the void near Earth's solar system. Its sensors picked up something unusual, a faint energy signal that pulsed like a heartbeat. The captain of the scout frowned. "Commander, these readings, they are unlike anything we have seen before." The council ignored the warning. "Ancient myths cannot threaten us," the elder said. "Send no fleets. Waste no resources. Let the stories fade into dust." Far below, on a hidden human station orbiting a distant star, humans did not laugh or panic. They worked in silence. Massive ships were being prepared, their hulls gleaming under the light of distant suns. Engineers checked engines and weapons, making sure every system was perfect. Soldiers ran drills, their movements precise and confident. Nothing was rushed. Nothing was left to chance. A young officer named Mara walked the length of the command deck, her eyes scanning the holographic map of alien systems. She touched a blinking red, marking the position of a major Zorith outpost. "They don't know we are coming," she said softly. Her voice carried both determination and a quiet excitement. "They think we are gone, myths in their stories. Soon, they will see the truth." In the dark spaces between stars, the first wave of human ships moved like shadows. They were enormous, far larger than any scout or freighter the aliens had ever seen. Each vessel was armed with weapons that could destroy entire fleets, yet they moved with an almost silent grace. Humans had spent centuries in secret, learning, preparing, and growing stronger while the galaxy forgot them. Back in the council hall, alien leaders argued. Some were cautious. "Perhaps we should investigate," one whispered, worry touching its tone. "Even myths sometimes hide danger." But fear was easily dismissed. "Humans are extinct," the elder insisted. "Nothing in this galaxy can match our fleets. Nothing." Meanwhile, the human fleet had reached the edge of the Zorith-controlled space. Sensors lit up with thousands of alien ships, all moving sluggishly through space. Human commanders studied the formations carefully, waiting for the perfect moment. There would be no warning. There would be no negotiation. When humans struck, it would be sudden, precise, and overwhelming. Mara's hand rested on the edge of the command table. She could see every ship, every weapon, every possibility in her mind. "Prepare the first strike," she ordered. Her voice was calm, but in it lay the weight of centuries. "We show them that humans are no longer stories. We are real. And we are coming." On the alien side, scouts finally reported the approaching fleet. Panic rippled through the Zorith ranks. This is impossible," one cried. "It cannot be. Humans are gone. Extinct." But the humans did not pause. They moved with confidence, their fleet slicing through the darkness of space like a blade. The first engagement was not a battle but a demonstration. A single human cruiser disabled a Zorith monitoring station without firing a full salvo. Alien leaders could only watch, stunned and terrified. Mara watched the screens, her mind calm. Every ship was in position. Every weapon ready. Every human crew knew their role perfectly. This was not war born of anger. This was strategy, intelligence, and patience honed over centuries. The council back on Zorith Prime trembled as more reports arrived. Entire outposts were being disabled silently, efficiently. Alien pilots had no answers. Their weapons could not touch the humans. Ships that were thought invincible fell in moments. "They are ghosts," whispered one young alien officer, voice shaking. How can this be?" They are not ghosts, Mara said, though her words were unheard by the aliens. She only said them to herself, a small smile on her lips. They are humans. And we are just beginning. In the silent darkness of the galaxy, a new story was unfolding. One that would be whispered in fear and awe for generations to come. The legends were true. Humans had returned. And no one, not even the mighty Zorith, was ready for what was coming next. The first strike was over. The humans had made their presence known. And the galaxy would never see them the same way again. After the first strike, the human fleet did not stop. They spread out, moving like shadows through the void. Every ship had a purpose, every crew a role. The galaxy had never seen such coordination, and it would take years for anyone to understand it. On the command deck of the flagship, Mara studied the holographic map. Red dots marked alien outposts, yellow dots showed minor patrols, and green dots were human ships, ready to respond instantly. She tapped one of the red dots. We hit them quickly, quietly. No one sees us until it is too late. Her calm voice carried a quiet authority that left no doubt. Humans were in control. In another part of the fleet, engineers checked weapon systems again and again. Laser arrays hummed, energy shields glowed faintly, and the new hyperdrive engines shone like silver veins across the hull. Each ship was a fortress and a weapon, built in secret over centuries. Humans had studied alien tactics for decades, learning their weaknesses and planning their strikes. Now, all that preparation would matter. Meanwhile, the aliens were in chaos. Messages flew between outposts and command centers, but most were unanswered. Panic had taken hold. We underestimated them, one alien captain admitted. They are not extinct. They are strong. They are organized. Back on the flagship, Mara walked among the crew. Soldiers moved silently, checking armor, weapons, and consoles. No one spoke loudly, no one laughed or panicked. There was only focus, calm, and readiness. A young technician looked up at Mara nervously. "Commander, are we really ready for this?" Mara smiled faintly. "We have waited for this moment for centuries. Yes, we are ready." The fleet moved closer to the nearest cluster of alien patrols. The humans did not attack immediately. Instead, they observed, studying alien formations, waiting for the perfect moment. Each patrol that passed unaware of the humans' presence was a victory in itself. Patience was their weapon. On a distant alien planet, scientists tried to understand what was happening. They scanned the human fleet, hoping to find a weakness, but nothing they found made sense. The ships moved with precision, weapons fired with incredible accuracy, and the humans never showed fear. One scientist shook his head. "These are not the same creatures our records describe. They are evolved and dangerous." Back in the human fleet, Mara received reports from smaller teams sent to survey alien defenses. "They have no idea we are here," one scout reported. "Their systems cannot detect us fully. Their sensors are primitive compared to ours." The humans' next step was not destruction but preparation. Every system they disabled, every patrol they avoided, was part of a larger plan. They were creating fear before the first real battle. Alien leaders had no idea what was coming. Each strike would seem sudden and terrifying, but it would follow the humans' plan perfectly. On one bridge, Mara paused and looked at the stars. "They laughed at us," she said softly. "They thought we were gone. They thought our stories were just myths. But now, they will see the truth." The first patrol came into range, unaware of the human ships hidden behind an asteroid belt. Human sensors tracked every movement, every weapon, every signal. Mara gave a quiet order. The ships moved like shadows, and within moments, the patrol was disabled without a shot fired openly. The aliens had no idea what had happened. Across the fleet, similar actions unfolded. Communications were jammed silently, engines disabled, and outposts left in confusion. No large-scale battle had begun yet, but fear was spreading. The humans did not rush. They were in control. watching how the galaxy reacted. Even among the crew, there was tension mixed with excitement. Soldiers and pilots had trained for decades for this moment. Now, the galaxy was finally paying attention. Mara walked past the observation deck, watching younger crew members study star maps, plotting the next moves. "This is only the beginning," she said quietly. In the alien council halls, panic grew. "They are everywhere. How is this possible?" one leader shouted. "We must respond before they reach our capitals." But it was too late. Humans were already several steps ahead. Every maneuver the aliens attempted was anticipated, every countermeasure prepared for. The legends of humanity were true, but no one had ever seen the full power. As the fleet moved deeper into alien space, Mara gave the final order for the day. "Hold positions. Prepare for tomorrow. They do not yet know what it means to face humanity." Silence fell across the fleet. The stars outside the viewports glimmered, beautiful and cold. Yet, in that silence, humans had the advantage. They had patience, strategy, and centuries of preparation. The galaxy, full of arrogant powers, still did not realize that their time of underestimating humans was over. Mara looked at the screens one last time before retiring for a brief rest. She knew the coming days would be hard, full of conflict and danger. But humans had waited long for this moment, and nothing, not aliens, not legends, not time itself, would stop them now. The galaxy had laughed at humans. The galaxy had mocked their stories. But the humans were not gone. The humans were coming. And the silence of the stars was about to be broken. The silence of space was shattered when the human fleet crossed the border of the Zorith-controlled sector. Alien sensors finally picked up the movement, and panic rippled through their ranks. "This is impossible," shouted a Zorith captain. "Humans cannot exist. They are extinct. And yet, here they are." The aliens scrambled their patrols, sending ships to intercept the newcomers. But it was already too late. The humans had studied every patrol route, every defensive formation, every weak point. Their ships moved with a precision no alien commander had ever seen. Mara's flagship led the formation, calm and steady, as the fleet spread like a dark shadow across the void. On the bridge of the nearest alien cruiser, panic filled the air. Officers shouted orders, weapons charged, and shields activated. Yet, every move they made was anticipated. The human fleet had observed, calculated, and prepared. Mara's eyes scanned the holographic map, noting each alien maneuver before it happened. "Do not fire unless I order it," she said. Her voice was calm, almost quiet, but every crew member understood the weight behind it. The first encounter was not chaotic. It was surgical. A single human cruiser glided toward the lead Zorith ship. With a silent pulse, the alien shields flickered and died. Their weapons could not respond fast enough. Within minutes, the cruiser was disabled, floating powerless as the humans moved on to the next target. Across the sector, similar strikes unfolded. Alien patrols tried to regroup, but confusion and fear spread faster than any battle. Ships collided in panic, engines flared, and communications broke down. The aliens realized the humans were not only present, they were superior. On Mara's flagship, she watched the data streaming in. "They are learning too slowly," she said softly. "Every move we make is part of a larger plan. They cannot see it yet." Her hand rested on the edge of the command table, steady and confident. The crew followed her lead, calm amid the chaos they had created. In the alien council halls, disbelief turned to fear. Leaders who had once mocked humans now argued in desperation. "We underestimated them," one said, voice trembling. "Our fleets are strong, our weapons advanced, yet they fall before these creatures as if they were children." Meanwhile, small human squads moved through asteroid belts and nebula clouds, avoiding detection entirely. They disabled communications, intercepted signals, and left alien outposts in confusion without a single direct confrontation. Every action was precise, deliberate, and terrifying to anyone who saw it. A young alien officer looked at the sensors, shaking. They are ghosts. They cannot be real. They are very real, Mara said quietly, though her words were not heard by the aliens. And they have been waiting for this moment longer than anyone knows. Every legend, every story. It was only the beginning. The humans did not celebrate. There was no shouting, no cheering. They were focused, watching, calculating their next move. The first engagement had proven the aliens underestimated them, but it was only a test. The main fleets were still gathering, unaware that the humans were ready for anything. Suddenly, an alien cruiser attempted to fire a warning volley. It was fast, but not fast enough. Human sensors detected it immediately, and Mara's flagship fired a precise countermeasure. The alien ship's engines were disabled, its weapons silent, its crew panicking. This was the reality the aliens now faced. Humans were not only strong, they were smarter, faster, and prepared for every possibility. In the darkness of space, fear spread like wildfire. Alien fleets tried to regroup, but the humans were always one step ahead. Each encounter left more ships disabled, more officers confused, and more systems compromised. It became clear, the humans were not fighting blindly. They had waited, trained, and planned, and now the galaxy was paying the price for underestimating them. On the bridge of Mara's flagship, she allowed herself a small smile. "They are learning too late," she said. "And we are only beginning." Across the galaxy, stories of the human fleet began to spread. Ships that were thought extinct, legends that were believed gone, were not only real, they were unstoppable. The aliens had mocked, laughed, and dismissed humans for centuries, but the reality now was terrifying. Humans were here, and they were unstoppable. The first contact had been made. The humans had revealed themselves, but the full scale of their power was still hidden. The aliens could only watch in fear as the fleet moved silently, leaving destruction and confusion behind. Mara's voice echoed softly across her command deck. "The galaxy will remember this day. They will remember that humans are not gone. They are here. And they are coming for everything they have ignored for too long." As the stars glimmered outside the viewports, the humans prepared for the next phase. The first shock had passed, but the war had only just begun. The galaxy, arrogant and unprepared, was about to learn what it truly meant to face humanity. The galaxy was not ready. Reports flooded the alien command centers, patrols disabled, outposts silenced, entire fleets missing. Panic had become the new order. Leaders who once mocked humans now shouted at each other, trying to find a way to stop what they could barely understand. On the bridge of Mara's flagship, calm reigned. Crew members moved with precision, checking weapons, shields, and sensor arrays. Every movement was part of a larger plan. The humans did not rush. They waited, striking only when the timing was perfect. The first major strike was about to begin. Mara studied the holographic map. Red dots marked alien installations. Their positions were carefully noted. "Target the supply lines first," she said. "We cut their support. Confuse them. Make them think they are safe, then show them they are not." The humans moved like shadows. Ships slipped past asteroid belts and through nebula clouds to avoid detection. In moments, they were in position around the first cluster of alien outposts. Mara gave the quiet command, and human ships opened fire. Not with chaos, but with precision. Energy beams sliced through alien defenses, disabling systems before the enemy could respond. Within minutes, several outposts went silent. Back on Zorith Prime, the alien council erupted in arguments. "How is this possible?" one elder screamed. "We have numbers, weapons, fleets, yet they are breaking through as if we had none." In the void, the humans advanced methodically. Mara's flagship led the fleet, observing every response. Alien ships tried to regroup, but each movement was anticipated. Humans intercepted communications, manipulated signals, and left misinformation for alien commanders. Confusion spread faster than any weapon could destroy. Small teams of human fighters carried out surgical strikes on outlying patrols. Entire squads of alien soldiers found themselves disarmed, trapped, or redirected into asteroid fields. Human tactics were simple in principle but impossible for the aliens to predict. The humans had waited centuries, studied the galaxy, and now their patience was paying off. A young alien officer on a cruiser looked at his screens in disbelief. They are too organized. Their strikes. They think ahead of us. This cannot be. They are not guessing, Mara said softly, watching the same data from her bridge. They are learning too late. Every move we make has been calculated. Every reaction anticipated. This is not luck, it is strategy, skill, and centuries of preparation. The first wave of alien fleets attempted a counterattack. Hundreds of ships moved together, hoping their numbers would overwhelm the humans. But the humans had already studied these formations. Mara's fleet split, striking from angles the aliens did not expect. Alien ships collided, fired at each other by mistake, and fell into traps designed decades ago. The humans were always one step ahead. Reports came in from multiple sectors: communication hubs disabled, supply convoys destroyed, fleets scattered. The galaxy's largest powers were reeling. Panic turned to fear, and fear turned to chaos. Alien leaders sent frantic messages to each other, but it was too late. Humans had already taken control of the first major sectors. Mara's voice echoed over the command deck. Hold your positions. Prepare for the next strike. They think they can fight us with force alone. Let them learn what it means to face humans who do not fear. In the chaos of the galaxy, some aliens began to surrender. Outposts offered terms of peace, hoping to survive, but the humans were not yet finished. Every surrender, every disabled fleet, was a step toward the larger goal, to show the galaxy that humans were no longer myths. They were the strongest power in existence, and they had returned not for revenge, but to reclaim their place among the stars. The aliens watched helplessly as the human fleet moved like a shadow across space. Every action was precise, controlled, and devastating. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy realized the truth. Humans were real, they were powerful, and they had been underestimated for too long. On Mara's flagship, she allowed herself a small smile. The first wave is complete, she said softly. Tomorrow, we continue. They do not yet know what is coming, and by then, it will be too late. As the stars glimmered outside, the humans rested briefly, not in fear, but in preparation. They had struck once, but the galaxy had not yet seen the full scale of human power. The legend was no longer a story told in whispers. The humans had arrived, and the galaxy would never forget it. The silence of space returned, but it was no longer peaceful. It was tense, filled with anticipation and fear. Humans moved through the darkness, patient, calculated, unstoppable. The first strike had shocked the galaxy, but it was only the beginning. Mara looked at her crew, her eyes reflecting the cold light of distant stars. They mocked us for centuries. They dismissed us as stories. But now, they will remember. Humanity is here, and we are only beginning. The alien empires would not stay quiet for long. Reports of destroyed fleets and disabled outposts had spread like wildfire. Leaders from the Zorith Empire and allied species gathered their forces, determined to strike back. They think they can take our systems and vanish, one alien general growled. We will crush them with numbers they cannot imagine. Massive fleets were assembled, hundreds of ships converging toward human-held space. On Zorith Prime, the Council watched in tense anticipation, confident that sheer force would end the human threat. They did not know humans had prepared for this. On the flagship of Mara, sensors lit up with incoming alien fleets. They are coming, a young officer said, voice tight. Mara did not panic. She studied the map calmly. Let them come. Every ship they send is part of our plan. The humans had positioned their forces carefully. Smaller squadrons hid behind asteroid fields and nebula clouds. Heavy ships formed strong defensive lines, ready to strike at the perfect moment. Every weapon system was primed, every crew member trained to act without hesitation. When the alien fleets entered range, they were confident, firing volleys at invisible targets, expecting chaos. But the humans did not react immediately. They waited, observing the alien formations, learning every movement. Their patience was a weapon no alien had faced before. Mara gave the order. Human ships moved in perfect coordination, splitting the alien formations with unexpected maneuvers. Laser volleys struck precisely, shields absorbed counterattacks, and alien ships were forced into traps they had never imagined. Panic spread across the enemy ranks. One alien admiral screamed at his officers. "They are predicting us. They know our plans before we even make them." Every strategy they had learned in decades failed against the humans. Fleets collided, engines overloaded, and entire squadrons were trapped in the wrong positions. Meanwhile, human fighter squads darted through openings, disabling engines and communications without engaging in full combat. Every strike was efficient, controlled, and terrifying. The aliens had overwhelming numbers, but their coordination was weak, and the humans exploited it ruthlessly. On Mara's bridge, she observed every detail. "Focus on their supply lines next," she said. "We do not need to destroy everything. Confuse them, weaken them, and then strike decisively." Crew members nodded silently, moving with precision. Each human ship acted like a part of a single mind, executing a plan centuries in the making. The alien fleets, now in chaos, tried to regroup. Leaders shouted orders, but the humans anticipated every maneuver. Ships that attempted to flee were intercepted, while others were drawn into traps. Energy beams cut through alien defenses with surgical accuracy. The humans' patience, planning, and skill left no room for error. A young alien officer on the bridge of a flagship whispered, voice trembling, "They are unstoppable. How is this possible?" "They are humans," Mara said softly, almost to herself. "And they have waited for this moment for centuries. They do not fear, they do not panic, and they do not make mistakes." Hours passed as the battle unfolded. Entire alien formations collapsed under human tactics. Supply convoys were destroyed, reinforcements delayed, and alien morale shattered. Every failed maneuver increased the humans' advantage. The galaxy had never seen a force so calm, coordinated, and deadly. Even the Council on Zorath Prime began to fear the humans. "We underestimated them for centuries," one elder said, voice shaking. "Our fleets are strong, but they are clever and patient. We cannot match them yet." By the end of the engagement, the alien fleets had suffered massive losses, while the human forces were largely intact. Not a single ship had been lost to rash mistakes or poor planning. Humans had proven that numbers alone could not defeat intelligence, patience, and preparation. Mara allowed herself a small smile as the last alien ship fled. "They will think twice before they underestimate humans again," she said. "This was only the first real test. We are just beginning." The galaxy had seen the humans. They were no longer myths or legends. They were real, and they were unstoppable. Alien empires had attempted to crush them with sheer force, but humans had turned numbers into a weakness, showing once again why they had survived when others thought them extinct. As the stars shimmered outside the flagship's viewports, the humans rested briefly, knowing the next moves would be even more decisive. The aliens would regroup, but humans had shown their superiority not through raw power alone, but through intelligence, patience, and unshakable determination. The legend of humanity was no longer a story. It was a warning, and the galaxy would never forget it. The Alien Council had gathered in panic. Reports from the front lines were worse than anything they had imagined. Entire fleets were crippled, outposts disabled, and communication lines broken. Their greatest fear had come true. Humans were real, and they were winning. On the flagship of Mara, the human fleet moved steadily toward the heart of the Zorath Empire. Every ship was in formation, every weapon ready, every crew member alert. This was not a random attack. Humans were going for the center, the Council itself. Mara stood on the command deck, studying the holographic map of Zorath Prime. Red dots marked defensive positions, but the humans had already anticipated every one. "Prepare for direct engagement," she said calmly. We are going to show them that humans do not negotiate from fear. We negotiate from power. The alien fleets tried to intercept, sending their fastest ships to block the humans. But every move was predicted. Human squads flanked the attackers, disabling engines and cutting off escape routes. The larger ships stayed out of range, striking only when necessary, keeping casualties minimal. It was efficiency in its purest form. In the council halls, alien leaders argued desperately. "We can outnumber them," one shouted. "We have the fleets, the weapons, the technology." Another elder shook his head. "We cannot fight what we do not understand. Every strike they make is perfect, every maneuver calculated. Our fleets are already in chaos." Mara's fleet entered the orbit of Zoreth Prime. Energy shields flared as human ships created a defensive perimeter around the planet, cutting off escape and reinforcements. Communications channels were jammed, leaving the council isolated. The humans had arrived at the core, and no one could stop them. A young alien officer on the council floor whispered, terrified, "They are here, at the center. How can they reach us so quickly?" "They are humans," Mara said quietly, voice calm. "And they are exactly what we always were told they could be." The humans did not attack with rage. They approached with precision and power, making it clear that the council had only two options: surrender or face total destruction. Mara activated the main communication channel, and her voice filled the council chambers. "You have dismissed us for centuries," she said. "You called us legends, myths, extinct. Yet here we are. You have the choice to recognize humanity's return peacefully, or to resist and be destroyed. The decision is yours." The council was silent. No one dared speak. Some whispered among themselves, terrified of what the humans could do. Others tried to argue for resistance, but the fear in the room was overwhelming. The humans had demonstrated time and again that they were not only powerful, but precise and unstoppable. Mara continued, her voice steady. "We did not come for revenge. We did not come to enslave you. We came to reclaim our place in the galaxy, and to remind every civilization that humans are not to be ignored. Choose wisely." A long pause followed. Alien leaders exchanged nervous glances, realizing that their fleets had already been broken, their supply lines cut, their soldiers demoralized. Resistance now would be futile. The humans had the advantage in every way: strategy, intelligence, and technology. Finally, one elder spoke, voice trembling. We accept your terms. We will acknowledge humanity. We surrender." Mara allowed a small smile. The humans had achieved more than military victory. They had forced recognition without a single city destroyed. Strategy and patience had won the day. The fleet remained in position, careful, organized, and ready for any sudden betrayal. But the council complied, sending messages to all allied systems to cease hostilities. Slowly, the galaxy began to realize the truth. The humans were not a threat to be joked about. They were a power to be respected. Mara turned to her officers. "Prepare for the next phase," she said. "We have shown them our strength, but this is only the beginning. The galaxy will remember this day. They will remember that humans are not myths. They are real. And we are here to stay." Outside the viewports, stars shimmered in silence. The humans had arrived at the heart of the enemy empire and emerged victorious without unnecessary destruction. Their tactics, patience, and intelligence had won what brute force alone could not. The legends of humanity, whispered across the galaxy for centuries, were no longer stories. They were history. And the humans were ready for whatever came next, calm, calculated, and unstoppable. Mara watched the holographic map, seeing alien fleets moving to comply, systems reporting surrender, and the galaxy slowly bending to the inevitable. "They mocked us for centuries," she said quietly, "but the legends were true. And we have only begun." The galaxy was quiet, but the silence was tense. Systems that once mocked humans now sent messages of surrender, acknowledgement, and respect. From the edge of known space to the inner core, Civilizations had realized that humans were no longer myths, they were a power unlike any other. Mara's flagship moved through orbit, observing the aftermath of their campaign. Outposts that had once been brimming with alien forces were now empty or under human control. Communication channels that had once been flooded with anger and threats were silent, or filled with messages of compliance. The humans had shown their strength, but they had also shown restraint. Across the galaxy, alien leaders debated their next moves. Some chose to ally with humanity, hoping to survive and benefit from the new order. Others surrendered, hiding their pride, but recognizing the reality of what they faced. Very few dared to resist openly anymore. Mara walked the length of the command deck, her eyes on the holographic map of the galaxy. "We did not come to destroy," she said softly to her officers. "We came to show that humanity is real, that we survive, that we are a force to be respected. The galaxy must learn that lesson well." A young officer nodded. "They will remember this day, Commander. Never again will humans be dismissed as myths." Mara allowed herself a small smile. "Good. But this is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast, and there are still systems that will test us. We must remain vigilant, patient, and strong." In the orbital city of Zorith Prime, civilians watched from observation decks as the human fleet maintained its presence. Some were fearful, others curious, but all understood that the era had changed. Humans were no longer part of legends. They were the present, the power in the stars, and the example for every civilization to measure themselves against. In space, small human squadrons continued patrols, ensuring no hidden threats could strike unexpectedly. Scientists and engineers worked on new technology, refining what had already proven superior. Soldiers trained tirelessly, their movements precise, their discipline unmatched. Humanity had arrived not just as a conqueror, but as a dominant, disciplined, and unstoppable force. Mara looked at the stars stretching infinitely beyond the viewport. Every legend, every story told about humans, it was only the beginning. We waited in silence for centuries. We learned. We prepared. And now, the galaxy finally knows what it means to face us. Reports arrived from every corner, alien fleets now coordinated with humans, trade systems reopened under human oversight, and once hostile planets began negotiations. Fear had turned into cautious respect, and respect into acknowledgement. Humanity had achieved what no other species could, victory without total annihilation. In her private quarters, Mara reflected on the journey. From the quiet stations hidden for centuries, to the first strikes that shocked the galaxy, to the confrontation with the Council, every move had been precise. Every plan executed perfectly. The legends had been true, but the full truth was greater than any story ever told. She activated a communication link to her officers. "Prepare to establish permanent stations across the galaxy," she said. "We are no longer returning to the shadows. Humanity will guide, protect, and lead where others fail. This is our time. We will not forget the patience and preparation that brought us here, and we will continue to be the force that shapes the galaxy." As the humans moved outward, the galaxy watched in awe and fear. Ships of other civilizations sailed carefully around the human fleets. Governments sent ambassadors. Scientists tried to study human technology. Every corner of the galaxy acknowledged that humans were the ultimate survivors, the strategists, the unstoppable force they had once mocked. Mara looked at the stars again, thinking of the legends, the myths, and the centuries of preparation. Humanity had waited silently, underestimated by all, but now they had emerged as the true power. The galaxy would not soon forget the day humans returned. "Let every world know," Mara said quietly, "that humans are not gone. We are here. We are strong. And we are only beginning to show the full measure of what we can do." The stars glittered in silence, but it was a silence filled with anticipation, respect, and fear. Across the galaxy, the story of humanity, once thought extinct, once dismissed as myth, had become a reality. Humans were here to stay. And no legend, no empire, and no force in the galaxy could deny it. The legends had been real. The humans had returned. And the galaxy would never be the same.